You're here with Life Lessons with Sukup, and today we're talking about great jobs that you can have without going to college. So let's first talk about the cost of college. It takes about $10,000 to $11,000 per school year to go to ASU, which is where I went. This is not me telling you that college is a bad idea. I went to college, okay? I needed to go to college to become a teacher. But college is expensive. UCLA, $14,000 per year. GCU, $16,000 per year. Kansas University is $26,000 per year. And Colorado State is $27,000 per year. These numbers actually could be a little higher because when I made this, it was like 2 to 3 years ago. So this means that if you go to school for 4 years, at the end of your 4-year degree, you are over $100,000 in student loan debt, assuming you didn't have scholarships. Now, the whole purpose of this is to tell you that you can have a successful job and not go to college. For some reason, in our society, we have built up college to be like this. Everyone has to go to college. And if you don't go to college, you're a loser and you're not smart and you're never going to be successful in life. And I just don't think that's true. College is not for everyone. And that's okay. You don't have to go to college. I get so many students from school that are like, Miss, my parents are really forcing me to go to college and I don't want to go to college. I hate going to school, blah, blah, blah. And the idea of, doing a desk job and going to 4 more years of school just sounds awful to me. And I'm like, bro, then don't. There's so many other options that exist for you. There's trade schools, there's technical schools. There's so much out there that you can do without going to college. And you can still be successful. You can still have the nice house, lots of money, go on vacations, have a family, do all those things. But we all have to do one thing, and that is that we all have to be willing to work. You have to be willing to work and to hustle to get the things that you want in life. I don't care what it is. I don't care if you own a restaurant. I don't care if you're washing cars. I don't care if you're driving a diesel truck. I don't care what it is. You own a dispensary. You're a lawyer. You're a doctor. You own a fish fry company. Doesn't matter. You all have to be willing to work. And you all have to be willing to hustle and get up in the morning to do that. So if you're like, but miss, money doesn't buy you happiness. You're right. Money does not buy me happiness, but I would way rather cry in a Jaguar than I would a cardboard box, to be honest, okay? And if you've ever had not as much money as other people, then you know how stressful it is if you're like, God, how am I going to pay my bills? What if I get evicted? What if my electricity shuts off? What if I can't feed my family, okay? You know how stressful that is. Money doesn't buy happiness, but it can help make your life a little easier. And then I always get a kid that's like, but miss, I want to have my dream job. Some of you will get that, and that's awesome, and I'm so glad, and I hope you do get your dream job. If you want to be an actress, I hope that happens for you. And if you want to be in the NFL, I hope that happens for you too. But not everyone gets there, and that's okay. Maybe you like to video game, and you want to be a video game streamer, okay? And you want to have a YouTube channel or a Twitch or whatever. The thing is, though, is that might take a long time before you get there, okay? You're going to need to pay your bills in between then. So you're still going to need a job that's going to pay your bills until your hobby or your passion or whatever it is takes off, okay? So let's talk about some jobs that do require a little bit of school. Now, if you're like, you just said no college. You just said that. Okay, pause. Even if you go work at McDonald's, okay, you're still going to have to go through their McDonald's training, university, whatever they call it, okay? If you go work at Best Buy, you're still going to have to go through their training, whatever schooling that they're going to make you do. Everyone's going to have that. So let's talk about a couple of them. Construction manager. Exactly what it sounds like. They manage construction sites. Community college for this costs about $2,000, takes you about a year, and you can start at $17 per hour. Now, if you're like, that doesn't really sound like that much money, here's a construction manager job that pays $90,000 a year. Requires that you have 10 years of industry experience. If you're 16 and you go get a job on a construction site, guess what? By the time you're 26, you've hit 10 years. If you're going to work till you're 65, that's a long time. That's a long time. How about a welder? Okay, if you like to work with your hands, this is a great one. Depending on the company, they might require that you go to a community college program. They might require that they have their own schooling that they go through. Some of the high schools have programs. It kind of depends on this, okay? They start at $15 an hour and can make a lot more. Just depends on where you are and how good you are, to be totally honest. Diesel mechanic. You're going to go to mechanic school, okay? And you're going to start around $40,000. You can make a lot more money than that. A lot more, $100,000. But if you're, again, very technical and you like this like hands-on mechanical stuff, this is a great program for you. Electrician. This one has apprenticeship programs, and if you're like, how do I get an apprenticeship? I have a video for that. You can watch it. I'll link it down below if you need to find it. But you have to be 18, graduate high school, and be able to pass a reading and math test. And if you're like, a test? There's a test involved? Maybe I'm talking about like basic reading and math skills, okay? If somebody says, hey, your total is $67 and they give you a $100 bill, what's their change? You should be at this point in your life, if you're looking at getting a job, figuring out how to do that, okay? The pay on this one really depends on the company you work for, where you're working, but guess what? Electricity not going anywhere, okay? We're going to keep having buildings that need to turn the lights on and do all this. So this is a great field to get into, and you can move around with this one. Paramedic. Cost for a paramedic school is about $7,000. It'll take you about a year, maybe a little more, maybe a little less. It'll make anywhere from $37,000 to $54,000 a year. Funeral director. 1 year funeral director certificate. You can get this program online even. Everything's online right now because of COVID, but you get the idea. And you can make anywhere from $40,000 to $55,000 a year. You can make more than that if you look. I looked up last night, literally last night, and Googled funeral director jobs in my area, and this one came up. It's $65,000 to $68,000 a year. And if you're like, wait, what is a funeral director? Let's say your Nana dies and you call the funeral home and you say, my Nana died, and they're like, we're so sorry. And you're like, yeah, I know, it sucks. And then they go, all right, well, when do you want to have her funeral? And you're like, I don't know, how's next Saturday? And they're like, next Saturday sounds great. And then you're like, okay, but my TO is really going to want to give a speech. And they're like, okay, we got you. And then they're going to be like, okay, but my other TO's coming in from out of town, and he's going to want to give a speech, but like, we don't want him to give a speech. So like, can you handle that? And they'll be like, yep, we got you, boo. Don't worry about it. And my grandmother loved roses. Can you make sure that there's roses, but they can't be purple roses because she hates the color purple? They will handle all that stuff. They're like the saddest party planner, kind of, in a way. And I'm sure there's going to be some funeral director that watches this and then hits me up and is like, I can't believe you said that. And I'll be like, well, but facts. Okay. HVAC. You work on air conditioners. You are necessary in California, Arizona, Texas, Nevada, Utah, anywhere it gets hot, really. But those are the big ones, okay? You live there, name your price, baby. Like, I'm going to pay you to come out and fix my AC. I don't care what it costs. I need my AC fixed. Come out here, okay? EMT, Emergency Medical Technician, if I remember correctly. It's going to cost you about $1,500 to go to school for this one. Take about 4 months. And the cool thing about this is that you can be specialized. From what I saw online, you can like kind of find your group. So if you want to work with maybe like drug rehab or suicide prevention, you can kind of work into that group and then, find out where your passion lies. And if you're thinking you maybe want to get into the medical field, but you're like, God, I really don't know, this would be a great way to kind of get your foot in the door and see if you like the medical stuff and then go from there. A plumber, anything that deals with water and pipes, and think of all the jokes that you could make. It would be about $4,000 in school, community college, or a trade school. It's going to take you maybe about a year, $35,000 to $85,000 a year, and it's a guaranteed job forever. Okay, you can work on pools, you can work in maybe hotels, you could work on a construction site, anything like that. Now, these are the jobs that just require you to go to high school and nothing more. A police dispatcher. Okay, starting at $21 an hour, which makes me really sad when I was looking this up because this is more money than I make, and I have a college degree. So let me just rethink all my life choices. But a police dispatcher is the person that when you call 911 and they go, 911, why? Because it's your emergency, and they kind of figure out who do they need to send. Do they need the police? Do they need the ambulance? Are you calling because somebody's having a barbecue and you don't like that? Then they're not going to send anybody because that's ridiculous. But you get the idea. This is your 911 operator, okay? High school diploma is required, okay? 1 year of experience in customer service environment. Have you had a job? Have you worked there for a year? You have customer service experience. A lineman, okay? Technically, no school is required for this one, but probably they're going to want you to maybe take some community college classes. They might even pay for it, okay? There's going to be some kind of training that they're going to make you do, maybe an apprenticeship. Depends on where you're working, how many years of experience you have. This one can make a lot of money. Here's one for the city of Mesa. $48 an hour. And you can see down here, minimum qualifications required. Any combination of training, education, and experience equivalent to a graduation from high school or GED. Police officer. To be a police officer, all you have to do is graduate high school, obviously, and then pass their physical exam and, interview, blah, 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 blah. But this is the bare minimum, okay? Depending on your city is going to depend on how much money you make. President of the United States. All you have to do to be president of the United States, 3 things. Be born in the United States, 35 or older, and get voted in. And there's always some kid that argues with me, and this is like, but miss, the last, whatever many presidents all went to college, all had college degrees, and blah, 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 blah. Right, cool, that's awesome. But they don't have to. Just like there's not a rule that you have to be male to be the president. But we've only had men, right? There's not a requirement that you're a white guy. But except for Barack Obama, every president we've had has been a white guy, okay? That's just the way it is. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. That's just the way it is. Correctional officer. No school required past high school. Guaranteed job forever because we are going to keep locking people up. Guess what, though? You're going to have the best stories at parties. You are going to have some killer stories. Here's some Texas jobs for you, showing you the pricing on what you can make. $40,000, $45,000, $49,000 a year. Power plant operators. I'm going to be honest, this one kind of surprised me a little bit. High school only required for this. Some community college classes might be nice, but don't have to. Okay? Minimum qualifications. Completion of a high school diploma or equivalent. All right. A millwright. No school is required past high school. They might want you to take some safety courses. They handle these big machines. They do all kinds of different things. $18 to $35 per hour. Flight attendant. Okay, to be a flight attendant, just graduate high school and pass all their little courses. Starts at $18.50 per flight hour. Obviously, this depends on the airline. This depends on a lot of things, but that's kind of just the basis. Okay. Bonus, you get paid to travel. Okay, when you have a layover, they're paying for your hotel. You want to go on vacation? Guess what? You get to fly for free. Guess what? You get to take other people, and they get to fly for free too. Railroad conductor. Depending on where you live, this might be more difficult to find this job, but Colorado, Chicago, Georgia, Oregon, Texas, all of these places will have railroad conductors. Here's a job posting for Texas. Education experience required. High school education or general education development, meaning a GED, and the ability to pass the training. There you go. Restaurant manager. For my foodies out there, go get a job as a server and work your way up. Okay? And if they want you to go get that business degree, sometimes they'll pay for it. Mining. Okay, again, only high school is required. Depending on the type of mining that you want to do or what city you're in or if you're willing to travel, there's like a huge market for this, okay? We are going to need to keep pulling stuff from the ground, so this ain't going nowhere. And here we have the pay breakdown for one company that I was able to find. Starts at $17 per hour. They will also pay you if you have to go for out of town. Patient transporter. This is your hospital Uber, essentially. Okay, guaranteed job forever because hospitals are going to keep existing. We're going to keep driving people to doctor's appointments. Here's a posting for Mesa, Arizona, $250 a day. CDL driver. Personally, I think this would be kind of a cool job. This is basically a semi-truck driver, okay? You're going to have to take a truck driving class because guess what? This is a little different than driving your Honda Civic around. Shocking, I know. But it makes pretty good money. I actually have a friend that does this. He has a route from California to Arizona, and that's all he does. Is just throughout the week, he just drives back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And he says he loves it because he's not really much of a people person, so he just likes to put his headphones in, and he listens to a podcast, or he listens to an audiobook, or different comedians, Joe Rogan, and he just drives. And that's it. Drives there, turns around, drives back. That's what he likes to do. Now, here is a pay breakdown for a company here, again in Phoenix, Arizona. Starts at $27 per hour. And here are the job requirements. You're going to have to go get your, truck driving class, clean driving record, no DUIs, and no drug convictions. This is going to be a lot of companies don't want you to be a drug addict. So, make sure you can pass that drug test. And remember, all these jobs are going to require that you do some work. No one is going to pay you $100,000 a year to do nothing, okay? If you find that job, let me know because I want it. And again, if you're like, but miss, I want to be a famous YouTuber or a famous Twitch streamer or whatever, I'm not saying you can't do that, but you're going to have to do some other things to pay your bills while you're working towards that, okay? And just remember that there is a lot of options out there. You don't have to go to college, okay? If you have any other questions, you can email me. You can comment down below. You can give me a thumbs up if you kind of like this video. If not, sorry. If you have suggestions, if you have questions, if you